It all starts with this girl who's totally taken aback when someone tells her that from now on, they're a family. He says he's her dad now and she's his daughter. He doesn't expect her to just accept it right away, but he wants to be someone she can count on. When she hears this, she lights up and happily says she's on board, cutely calling him Papa. Later at home, his wife is chopping up some veggies, and he's there helping her out. Her name's Miyako, and it's been a month since they tied the knot. She's super happy he's pitching in with the cooking, and he can't help but think she looks adorable. Toko, her daughter, has wrapped up her assignments too. Her dad passed away when she was in her second year of high school, and she jumps in, teasing him about his funny way of peeling potatoes. She's eager to show him how a pro does it. He's heard that teenage girls can be a bit tricky to deal with, but he thinks his worries are probably overblown. Before getting married, he lived a totally different life, where all he focused on was work. Once he hit his 30s, his boss piled on more responsibilities, and then it was just a cycle of stress. While thinking back on those hectic work days, he's checking his phone and sipping on a drink when his mom calls. She mentions a classmate of hers who just got married and suggests he should think about tying the knot too. His name is Hiroto, and his wife calls out to him, telling him not to get caught up in dating while he's cooking. She jokes around, asking if he's seen someone else. He feels really grateful to Miyako and Tuko because he's finally able to chill out. Later on, his wife realizes they're out of curry and heads to the nearest store to grab some. He tells her not to worry about it, but she's set on going anyway. From the outside, their marriage looks perfect. Still, when he's alone, he can't shake this uneasy feeling, and he's not even sure why. When he gets home, Tuko shouts at him to just play a game while they wait for their mom. He goes along with it, and she excitedly pulls him towards the sofa, leaving him a bit speechless. Next, they're sitting super close, almost to the point where she's practically leaning on him. She's really making an effort to spend time with him, and he figures he might as well just go with it. Maybe he's just reading too much into it. Tuko, while playing along with her dad, decides to be a bit bold. He's actually happy they found something they both enjoy, even if that game is pretty tough. After a bit of play, he ends up losing. Right after, Tuko gives him a warm hug and sort of squeezes up against him. He feels her leaning into his arm and quickly pulls away. Tuko looks surprised by his reaction. On the flip side, Hiroto just tells her that she's in high school now, so she shouldn't be so clingy. Anyway, she's totally up for some not-so-holy stuff. She strolls over, puts both hands on his lap, and says she's not being clingy. He checks in on her, and as she's rubbing her hands on her cheeks, he starts to sweat a little from the whole vibe. Out of nowhere, Miyako crashes into the house. Tuko quickly spins around to greet her mom, acting all chill. But behind her, Hiroto's a nervous wreck, sweating bullets and feeling his heart race. As they're getting dinner ready, he can't shake off what just happened. Tuko looks completely relaxed, laughing it up with her mom, while he's stuck wondering if she's been feeling lonely since her dad passed away. He figures he's just overthinking things and tries to push those thoughts away. They're getting ready for dinner when Miyako starts asking Tuko about her school and her new class. She mentions she still hangs out with some old friends from the club and how she plays soft tennis. She even hopes he'll come watch her next match. Tuko seems a bit confused at that and says it'd be awesome if it doesn't interfere with his work. Miyako chimes in that she'd love to go too, depending on how she feels. Just then, someone from the neighborhood rings the doorbell, so she goes to check it out. Meanwhile, Tuko calls out, saying all girls usually want their boyfriends to come watch them play, but she'd be totally cool with it just being him. He's a bit surprised, but kinda says he appreciates it. Miyako jumps in, asking what's going on. Tuko, though, just brushes it off with a smile, saying it's a secret. He looks a bit puzzled, but she's all like, "We're getting along, right?" while sliding her leg over his under the table. As he's trying to figure out what's up with her, she's just giggling and asking if they're not getting along. Miyako catches on too, giving him these weird looks like she's on to something, while he's totally sweating bullets over it. When it's time for bed, he thinks he should probably talk it over with his wife, so he calls out to her, saying he wants to chat about something that's been bugging him. Miyako knows what's up. She tells Hiroto it's gotta be hard for him to jump into fatherhood all of a sudden, but Hiroto just shakes his head and says that's not true at all. He's totally cool with it. He should be stoked that he married her. He pulls her in for a hug, saying how much he cares about both her and Tuko. Miyako's face goes all red at that. Then they share a sweet kiss, and things get a little heated between them. But they have no idea that Tuko is sneaking a peek at them like a total creep. The next day, Hiroto is at his desk, feeling pretty drained when his co-worker, Sasaki, pops in, teasing him about being tired already and it's only lunch. Sasaki's just checking in on his friend, and they decide to grab a bite together. Hiroto's enjoying a homemade bento that his daughter made him, which makes Sasaki a bit jealous since his wife never prepares meals for him. She always says no when he asks. Hiroto thinks he should find a way to thank Tuko later. Sasaki can't help but mention how beautiful Hiroto's wife is and how cute his daughter must be, but Hiroto can't remember showing him any pictures. Sasaki jokes about how Hiroto gets to live with a charming high schooler and says he's really envious. He even suggests they probably have a lot of happy accidents together. That's when Hiroto gets serious and tells him he never crosses that line with his daughter. He explains that high school is such an important time for her, and that kind of talk really grosses him out. Sasaki looks a bit taken aback and quickly brushes it off, saying he was just joking and apologizing. On his way home, Hiroto can't help but think about how he confidently said it was kinda gross to have those kinds of thoughts about a kid. But when Tuko hugged him earlier, his heart definitely skipped a beat for a sec. He realizes he needs to step up and be a better dad. When he finally gets home, he figures his daughter and wife aren't back yet, so he lets out a sigh of relief and flops down on the sofa. That's when Tuko surprises him by jumping in and covering his eyes from behind. She playfully asks him to guess who it is, and he instantly recognizes her voice, kind of freaking out. He says her name out loud, sounding alarmed. She laughs and checks if he was scared, and he jokes that he almost had a heart attack. Then he asks where Miyako is, and she mentions she might be at the clinic. After that, she approaches him in a really awkward way. Before he knows it, she's on top of him, blushing and saying it's just the two of them there. Then she grabs his tie, starts loosening it, and tells him to take it off while he's all tense. With her sitting on him, he's trying to figure out what she's up to. She pulls him in for a tight hug and mentions that he smells really nice. Fed up with the situation, he decides to step back, pushing her away. He can't understand why she'd act like that while he's practically gasping for air. She just leans in and calmly asks if being closer is a problem. This catches him off guard, and he snaps back that it's not an issue at all. Then she brings up what happened yesterday about him and their mom. Panic sets in as he starts to wonder if she actually heard anything. He thought they were being quiet and it was late. Clenching his fists, he quickly says if that made her uncomfortable, he's really sorry. He just wants her to know one thing. He's her dad, and she's his daughter. They should be close, but there need to be some boundaries. It's not that he doesn't like her or think physical contact is a bad idea. He's actually happy she's trying to be closer. But he's taken aback when he sees her start to cry, tears streaming down her face. It freaks him out a bit, and he wonders if he said too much. Then she suddenly grabs him and apologizes, explaining that she's feeling really lonely. She begs him not to leave her and her mom. He realizes she's just feeling lonely and thinks he should have taken it a bit easier on her. He also says he's sorry for talking too much. He reassures her that he's not going anywhere, and he wants to be there for her and her mom. Hearing this makes her feel a bit emotional. He promises he'll do his best to be a good dad for her. While they're holding hands, Tuko asks if they can hug, and he thinks that sounds good, so he leans down a little. She hugs him tightly, showing her appreciation, and he figures she's just trying to adjust to having a family. He still feels kind of like an outsider. He knows he can't be the perfect parent right away, but he's going to give it his all. Tuko says she'll put in her best effort too. Hiroto feels good knowing they'll all make a happy family together. Still, there's this weird grin on Tuko's face when she calls him Papa. The next day at school, some random guy is just staring into space. Turns out he's staring at Tuko while she's cracking up with another classmate. Suddenly, someone sneaks up behind him and gives him a scare, asking if he's checking her out again. That's Honda-san. He tells her to chill and stop scaring him, and she teases him about not giving up on Tuko. He freaks out and tries to explain that he wasn't even looking at her, but his face tells a different story. She's known Tuko since elementary school, and tons of guys have tried to ask her out, but none of them have succeeded. Honda-san tells him he should just give it a rest before walking off. Deep down, he knows she's right. Then she walks up to Tuko and asks if they should hit the tennis club. But Tuko says she has to submit the class journal first and will catch up with her once she's done. In the changing room, Honda asks Tsuko if she's ever thought about wanting a girlfriend, and it totally catches her off guard. She agrees but admits she doesn't really have anyone in mind right now. So Honda, being casual about it, asks what her type is, but she just kinda doesn't know and seems surprised. After a moment, she decides to spill a bit since Honda is teasing her. She mentions that she thinks someone like her dad is her type. That leaves Honda completely speechless. Then some classmates jump in, teasing her about being into older guys. Tuko just brushes it off, trying not to let it bother her. The guy who has a crush on her sees that the weather is getting worse and wonders if they're still going to play tennis. He's got the printouts for the sensei and introduces himself as Kato. The sensei thinks that's cool and asks if he'll be dropping by the tennis club. He mentions it's going to rain and is thinking about letting everyone go home early. Kato points out that the girls are already there. Meanwhile, at the tennis court, the girls are getting ready for their match. Tuko is around too, about to grab the score paper from the club room. Kato is rushing because he doesn't want to get soaked. Then he unexpectedly runs into her. Heart racing, he says he actually wanted to talk to her. As soon as the rain starts pouring, he mentions that the club activities are off because of it. Out of nowhere, the rain starts to come down even harder, totally soaking her. In the next scene, they're just stuck waiting for the rain to chill out. Tuko can't help but wonder why the rain hit them so suddenly. She's gotten so wet that her clothes are almost transparent, while Honda is left thinking about what they could possibly discuss. He then points out that the teacher should have let them know sooner about the cancellation. Sensei had asked him to pass the word, and he just nodded along without really thinking. He also jokes that his willingness to help is what makes him such a great guy. Hearing that makes his heart race. He just blurts out that she's awesome since she has good grades, and everyone thinks she's great. But then, out of nowhere, she hits him with the bombshell and asks if he likes her. It totally catches him off guard. Trying to act chill, he asks why she wants to know. Now he's freaking out, wondering if she noticed him staring at her and if she's mad at him or something. As they stand there side by side, he starts to talk, still trying to build up the nerve while his face is turning red thinking about some memories of her. Really tense, he finally admits that, yeah, he likes her. But it's clear right away that they're classmates and both in the same club. He sees her as a friend and tells her that if anything's bothering her, she can just talk to him and he'll help. Even though she's completely soaked, she stays relaxed and shows her appreciation for him. Meanwhile, he's sweating it out, wondering if that's all she's got to say. To keep the conversation going, he points out that the rain isn't letting up. Then he calls her by name and asks if she's got a crush on anyone. She thinks for a moment and admits that she does. She adds that as long as she has him, she doesn't need anyone else. While all this is going on, he's just staring at her in surprise. He totally gets the vibe of the situation. Then Honda pops in, asking Tuko if she's okay. When she sees him, she gets all excited and tells Kato to keep their convo a secret. After that, she heads out with Honda. After hanging out in the classroom for a bit, Kato can't shake the thought of her blushing while talking about that guy. He's curious about who he is, so he decides to leave, and his friends ask if he's already heading home. He's just thinking about how awkward it's going to be to face her on Monday. As he strolls into the locker room, he runs into her again. Kind of nervously, he calls out to her and asks if she forgot her umbrella. She admits she left it at home. Once they step outside, he offers to lend her his spare umbrella, but she insists she's good. She mentions she just needs to wait a bit, and then he spots Hiroto in the distance, umbrella in hand. He can't help but think it's odd she didn't check the weather forecast. He walks up to her, holding an umbrella. Tuko runs over and calls him Papa. He offers her the umbrella, but she says they can share one while walking together. Meanwhile, Kato is thinking about whether that's really her dad since he looks pretty young. He can't shake off her earlier comment about liking someone, but he tries to set those thoughts aside. As she walks away with her dad, she glances back at him, and he's just standing there, a bit surprised. After a while, when they both get home, Tuko is completely drenched. Water is even dripping down her skirt. She's really soaked, while her dad is just standing there, totally oblivious. Then, out of nowhere, she starts taking off her uniform. She's standing there looking totally out of place, asking her dad if he could help her out. It's a bizarre moment, and to make things weirder, she has this strange hole in her body, which totally freaks him out. But then he wakes up sweating, and to his surprise, she's right there in his bed next to him. She leans in closer and teasingly asks what he was dreaming about. He turns to the side, still sweating, and panics when he sees her. He backs away and asks why she's in his bed. She just casually says she came to wake him up since he was having a nightmare, so she thought she'd comfort him. He feels awkward that she caught him looking like this. She says he shouldn't go to his parents' room, especially since she's half-dressed. When he hears that, he's a bit lost. She quickly pulls her shirt up, showing him she's actually just wearing shorts. Meanwhile, he's freaked out that she didn't need to do that. As he steps back, he accidentally slams his hand and hurts it. Later, she's busy bandaging up her dad, who thanks her and asks about Miyako. Her mom's working part-time because she had to cover for someone who bailed, so he figures he'll go wash up. But then she tugs on his shirt, telling him to hang on. She wants a band-aid for her pinky too, just like his. He's totally shocked because she isn't even hurt. Then, out of nowhere, she opens her mouth and bites down on her pinky finger. That completely catches him off guard. He's like, "What are you doing?" And there's even blood. Strangely enough, she tells him to look and says that injuries need fixing, asking if he'll patch her up now. He starts to sweat, wondering if this is some kind of crazy situation, and he just can't figure it out. While he wraps her up, he tells her that was totally unnecessary and warns her not to do it again. She reassures him, saying not to worry because she believes family shares both pain and pleasure. Apparently, that's what her dad used to say. He looks a little surprised by that. It's time for breakfast, and they both wish each other a good meal. He asks if she has any club activities today, and she says practice is tomorrow, so she's free until then. While giggling, she asks what he's up to today, and he mentions he might not have finished the book he borrowed. Then she suggests going on a date. The idea catches him off guard, and he struggles to swallow his food. He doesn't think she'd enjoy hanging out with an older guy like him, but she insists it'll be fun. Plus, she wants to buy something, which makes him curious about what she has in mind. He starts to realize there's a nice side to her for a reason. He's totally okay with it as long as it's not some fancy luxury brand or anything. And honestly, that makes her super excited. After a while, she pops out from behind, looking amazing, and asks what he thinks. He's pretty surprised because it really looks great on her. She even has this idol vibe going on. Then they step outside, and while they're wandering around the city, he can't help but wonder about what kind of relationship they actually have. He notices people giving them weird looks, but he figures she's having a blast. She's really enjoying herself, and he just brushes it off. He's heard a lot of stuff about his marriage, but honestly, he doesn't think it matters what others say. He's starting to feel like they're family now. He wonders what she's going to buy, but then she surprises him by dragging him into this really sketchy clothing store. He decides to just chill there and tells her to take her time looking around. But she's totally on some weird vibe, coming over and asking what he thinks about these outrageous outfits that are definitely not family-friendly. It's honestly freaking him out a bit. She even teases him about how shocked he looks. After that, they go to a different store, which is more of a general or antique shop. She heads up to the counter and pulls out this wooden box that looks like a music box. She wants to give it to her mom for her birthday and plans to put a picture of the three of them inside. That really touches him, and he thinks it's such a sweet gift. She's a bit low on cash, but he's keeping that under wraps. In return, he asks her to pick out a gift, and she's totally on board with that. He also offers her something to read, and she suggests parfait. Just around the corner, some girls are sipping on smoothies. Among them is Eureka, who's not having any because she thinks they're way too calorie-heavy. Her friend thinks she's in one of her sour moods again. Eureka's also glued to her phone, annoyed by someone texting her to head home. She can't stand it and rolls her eyes as she checks her messages. Eureka can't believe what she's seeing. Tuko is having an absolute blast with her dad, just laughing it up, and it totally catches Eureka off guard. She's completely frozen in place. Her minion notices and asks what's up. A mischievous grin spreads across Eureka's face as she spills that she just saw something super interesting. The next day at school, Eureka is hanging out with her friends, scrolling through her Instagram and noticing that some people are liking her posts. She's pretty stoked about it. Her friends are surprised she's gaining followers, but honestly, it's no big deal for her. Meanwhile, Tuko is with her friend, and a video of them is blowing up online. She was just in the background, but her friend tagged her, and now she's been getting constant notifications since yesterday. Everyone thinks she's super cute. Her friend even asks if she has an Instagram, and Tuko feels bad saying she doesn't because she's not great with social media. One of her friends starts bragging that it's true what they say. Real cuties don't mess with social networks. On the flip side, Eureka is super jealous watching all this unfold. She gets up to head to the restroom, feeling like she really can't stand her. Plus, she's got some serious issues with her mom too. She's convinced she doesn't want that kind of life since her mom has taken everything from her. The abuse she went through just to be the best was rough. Now her mom's totally frustrated because her auditions aren't going as planned. Eureka starts doubting if she's even cut out for this. She points out that her grades are better than before, but her mom still isn't happy. She apologizes, insisting she's strict for Eureka's own good. While holding her up, she asks if she can do better, and Eureka, feeling overwhelmed, replies that her mom is everything to her. The next day at school, Eureka's mom shows up with the report card in hand. As they walk past the classroom, she glances at all the other students and asks who the top one is. Eureka hesitates for a second, but then points to Tuko, saying it's her. Her mom's response is super weird, saying she wishes Tuko was her daughter. That totally throws Eureka off. Her mom definitely has some issues, and then she says she's heading home first. After she walks away, Eureka glances over at Tuko, who's laughing it up with her crew. It makes her feel all kinds of jealous, and she clenches her teeth in frustration. While she's in the bathroom, she can't shake off thoughts about her. It's all just eating her up inside. Eureka has always been the one everyone notices in class, with boys talking about her even when she doesn't know their names. She can't help but think that if it weren't for that girl, she wouldn't be feeling this way. It's just pure envy. Out of nowhere, Tuko jumps in and asks if Eureka's okay. Eureka looks at her all confused and calls her name. Tuko apologizes, saying it feels like something's bothering her today. Eureka tries to brush it off, acting like it's no big deal. But Tuko keeps it relaxed and even says she's always around if Eureka wants to talk about anything. On the flip side, Eureka is determined to get her throne back. She pretends to be cool about Tuko, who's got top grades, behaves well, and is pretty cute. But Eureka has been struggling to find something to exploit. Finally, she discovered a weakness, just one, but she thinks it's enough to take her out for good. She gets hold of a photo of Tuko with her dad and spreads it around the class like she's trying to expose some big scandal. Now Eureka believes it's her time to reclaim her spot. At school, Eureka is casually singing some songs, super excited to see Tuko today. Kato jumps into the class and notices everyone whispering and acting weird. Honda comes in too and asks what all the noise is about. She tells him to check it out. When he looks, he's shocked to see someone spread a photo of Tuko with her dad captioned as sugar dating. It got sent to everyone who was hanging around after school. Kato can't believe it and asks what's going on. It reminds him of that guy. He's even more surprised, wondering who would do something like this. Honda has no clue either and just thinks it's classic hater behavior. Suddenly, Tuko jumps in, greeting everyone with a cheerful good morning. The whole class freezes for a sec when they see her. But Eureka can't help but hold back her laughter. Tuko notices something weird with the minions and asks what's up. Honda checks in on her, asking if she's okay. Meanwhile, she's trying to figure out what's going on. Honda shows her a picture, and they think someone is just playing a prank. When Tuko sees the photo, she pauses for a moment. Eureka watches everything unfold, wondering what Tuko will do next. Will she get mad, run away, or burst into tears? But instead, Tuko just giggles, finds it hilarious, and says it's just her dad. When the minions heard this, they were totally taken aback. She cleared things up by saying that even though she calls him dad, her real dad passed away when she was little, and her mom remarried. It's a bit complicated, but she explained that he's actually a really nice guy, and her mom is happy with him. Meanwhile, Eureka just can't wrap her head around how this can be acceptable. The other students figured it was all just a big misunderstanding. She's annoyed, wondering why they're all laughing like it's no big deal. Jealousy creeps in again as she thinks about why they let this upstart fool them like that. Out of nowhere, a student calls out, asking who did this because he thinks it's seriously messed up. The other minions start freaking out too, saying it's really bad. Kato jumps in, saying it was way over the top for just a prank. Meanwhile, Eureka can't believe it and is like, "What the heck is this?" Kato quickly backs up Tuko, insisting that whoever did this needs to step up and apologize. Everyone in the class is on his side, and they start thinking it must be someone who was hanging around in the classroom. Tuko can't believe it's come to this. The students are getting ready to start their investigation, but Tuko suddenly tells everyone to hold on. She feels like there's no need to look for the culprit because she doesn't want to blame anyone in the class. As everyone listens, including Honda and Kato, she drops a creepy hint, saying that things actually turned out fine for her. While saying this, she gives Eureka a strange look that catches her off guard, making Eureka wonder why she's staring at her. Now she's trying to figure out if Tuko knows it was her, and can't quite understand how she managed to keep the whole thing quiet. Out of nowhere, Sensei pops into the classroom, greets everyone, and tells them to kick off homeroom. Meanwhile, Eureka is super tense, worried that Tuko should have left by now. Then someone calls out to her. It's Tuko, just strolling in and tossing around some casual comments. She mentions it's their turn to clean the classroom today because Yoshida asked her to fill in for her. With that, she walks off while Yoshida is just hanging out by the entrance. Before heading out, Tuko takes a moment to give Yoshida some props and then takes off. After a little while in class, while Tuko is cleaning the floor, Eureka jumps in. She thinks cleaning duty is just a cover and asks why Tuko's acting all innocent when no one's around. Tuko turns around, completely puzzled, like she somehow figured out what happened. Eureka admits it was her and asks if she's planning to tell the teachers or her parents. She also points out that there's no proof, but she can show her phone if she wants. Tuko realizes she's talking about the photo and mentions she's glad she captured that moment of affection. This catches Eureka off guard, But then Tuko keeps going, saying it's not cool to take without giving something back. Out of nowhere, she finds this cute pic of Eureka from back in the day when she used to mess around. But it's with some creepy guy, and it totally freaks her out. Turns out it was a photo with a fan who ended up being a stalker, and she had to move because of that jerk. She quickly grabs the photo and tears it up, not wanting to think about that time at all. She asks Tuko how she even got it in the first place. In a creepy way, Tuko sneaks up behind her, but she doesn't care what people say about her. Then she makes it clear that if anyone tries to hurt her dad, she won't just stand by. That makes Eureka's heart race. After that, Tuko just heads off, saying she's done cleaning and is going home. Eureka can't believe how out there Tuko is. She wonders if she has some kind of father complex or something. A wicked grin creeps onto her face as she thinks about how foolish it was for Tuko to reveal her own weakness. Now that she's this deep in, she decides she's going to ruin Tuko's family and her life. When Hiroto gets home, he can't stop thinking about how his coworker's daughter just told him he stinks. Out of nowhere, Tuko bursts into the room, calling for her dad and kind of surprising him. She asks what he's up to. He hesitates, but she figures he's worried he smells like an old man. That totally freaks him out. It's shocking to hear her say that. Then she asks if she can check how he smells. Before he knows it, she leans up and starts sniffing him, which makes him panic a bit, and he tells her to hang on. She then says he actually smells nice. He's a bit confused but decides that he'll take a bath now. He thinks it's a relief, but also pretty scary. So how was the first meeting between Hiroto and Tuko? The next day, even after everything that went down, the classroom feels oddly normal. Yoshida sits quietly, picking up on the vibe around her. The teacher is going on about social ecosystems and economic inequalities, talking about how people form different groups. They're saying there's no class system in modern Japan, but Yoshida knows better. There's always some sort of hidden hierarchy in every classroom, and she's sure it's here too. In her head, she breaks it down into layers. At the top are the popular kids, the pretty ones, the hot shots, and their loyal followers who act like little sidekicks. Next are the average students, the ones who just blend in without making a fuss. Then there are the asocial introverts, the ones who keep to themselves and shy away from the spotlight. And at the very bottom is a totally ignored layer, Yoshida's spot. She knows she gets teased sometimes, but people only come to her when they need something, like borrowing notes. She always says yes, and during those brief moments, they actually chat with her. Other than that, she's kind of invisible. Her name is Kireri Yoshida, but she feels like it doesn't really suit her. Her parents named her after a cute character from their favorite anime after meeting at a club in college, probably hoping she'd turn out special like them. But Yoshida often thinks someone like Tuko fits the main character vibe way better. In Yoshida's eyes, Tuko is like a graceful swan, shining so brightly that everyone just wants to be around her. She seems almost divine. Compared to her, Yoshida feels like a total background character. But even with those heavy thoughts, she tells herself it's all good, definitely better than how things were back in middle school. When lunchtime rolls around, she sneaks off to the art room, the one place where she can chill out. She expects a pretty normal break, but then, out of nowhere, Tuko shows up at the door. She walks in and asks if she can come in, which totally catches Yoshida off guard. She nearly jumps out of her seat, shocked to see her there. Tuko notices how flustered she is and quickly apologizes for barging in. Yoshida can't wrap her head around why Tuko would come to see her. She wonders if it has anything to do with that embarrassing photo from earlier, but she tells herself not to overthink it. Tuko explains that she got tired of the noisy classroom and wanted to escape for a bit. Yoshida feels confused but just goes with it. Then Tuko says she actually has a favor to ask. She mentions that Yoshida is supposed to clean up after school and asks if she could take her place for today. At first, Yoshida thinks she means swapping shifts, but Tuko insists she just wants to handle it. Yoshida is a bit puzzled, but she's totally fine with it. Before she can even respond, Tuko raises her hand in thanks, flashing her a bright smile. That little gesture makes Yoshida's heart flutter. She can't help but notice how delicate and beautiful Tuko's hand looks, almost like a piece of fine art. Plus, it hits her that Tuko called her by her first name, and it feels warmer than ever. For the first time, Yoshida sees her own name shining bright instead of being in the shadows. As a little thank you, Tuko even offers her an apple. Yoshida tries to play it cool, but inside she's freaking out because it feels like the best thing that's ever happened to her. Later on, she heads to the restroom and quietly changes out of her uniform. That night, Hiroto is on his way home from work, really hoping he can catch his usual train. He picks up the pace, thinking he needs to hurry a bit. Just as he's about to go through the station, he unexpectedly bumps into Eureka. She stumbles and falls right into him, totally catching him off guard. He steadies her and asks if she's all right. Clinging to him, Eureka says she feels a bit faint and asks if he can find a place for her to sit. Even though he's surprised, Hiroto decides to help her out. As she leans against him with a cheeky smile, she quietly thanks him, but there's a sneaky glint in her eyes that he doesn't quite catch. In the next scene, Eureka and Hiroto are sitting next to each other on a bench at the park. He checks in on her, asking how she's feeling now. She thanks him for the water and says she's feeling much better. Then she apologizes, asking if he's in a hurry to get somewhere. Hiroto tells her he's not, since he's just heading home. But the truth is, he's already missed his usual train. Even though he's relieved she's feeling better, he thinks he should probably get going. But then Eureka suddenly stops him, grabbing his hand tightly and asking him to wait a little longer. Hiroto looks puzzled, trying to figure out what she means. As she holds his hand, her eyes wander to the ring on his finger. Just when he's about to tell her the truth, that he got married this year, she softly says he must be such a kind guy with a wonderful family waiting for him at home. Her mood changes as she admits that, even at her own place, she feels completely alone. She adds she doesn't want to go back there, her voice shaking a bit as she gently rubs his hand against her cheek in a slow, flirtatious way. Then she whispers that she just wants him to stick around a bit longer, saying she wants to feel like she owes someone something for once. Hiroto tenses up, his hand shaking as he feels her touch. Shocked, he suddenly pulls away and asks what she thinks she's doing. Eureka's eyes widen, surprised by his reaction. Seeing her shock, Hiroto quickly apologizes and firmly tells her he can't go along with what she's asking. She looks down but calmly tells him to at least be careful on his way home. Hiroto nods and starts walking away, feeling uneasy. Inside, he's wondering what just happened and if it was some kind of scam. Gripping his wedding ring tighter, he decides he doesn't want to get involved with this anymore. Meanwhile, Eureka isn't done. She opens her handbag and there's her phone already set up. She'd been secretly recording everything that just went down between her and Hiroto. A twisted smile spreads across her face as she realizes what she's got. Suddenly, her phone buzzes loudly. It's her mom calling. Eureka picks up right away, and her mom sounds a mix of frustrated and relieved. She asks where Eureka has been and tells her to hurry home because a friend is waiting. Eureka is super confused by that. Her mom never likes her friends, so she can't picture her being in a good mood. Then her mom drops the bomb that this friend is actually the #1 student at school, the one they were just talking about the other day. She even calls her a close friend. That sends a chill down Eureka's spine. The top student? No way. She rushes home, heart racing, wondering why that girl of all people is there. She practically slams the door open and storms inside, frustrated. In her head, she questions if her mom is just a housekeeper now, letting anyone waltz in like this. Then she sees Tuko, who politely says sorry for crashing. Eureka's mom also apologizes for her daughter being rude, but Tuko waves it off, saying she's totally fine and giving a gentle smile while repeating her apology. Eureka walks over and asks Tuko what she's doing here. Her mom jumps in right away, scolding Eureka for being rude and reminding her to treat guests nicely. Eureka rolls her eyes, muttering that she's not into entertaining her mom's friends. Her mom just shakes her head and says she'll have to check the receipt later. Then she turns to Tuko, all cheerful, and apologizes for her daughter's attitude, offering her some tea. Her mom sits next to Tuko, gushing over how beautiful and smart she is. She even suggests that Tuko should wear brighter colors because they'd really suit her. Meanwhile, Eureka is tense, watching her mom shower Tuko with compliments. Tuko tries to smile, but Eureka's mom goes on about how she wishes Eureka could be more like Tuko, saying that Eureka never puts in her full effort. Frustrated and embarrassed, Eureka tries to step in casually, telling her mom to chill out and that she's probably making Tuko uncomfortable. But Tuko quickly jumps in, saying she's totally fine. She shares that her own mom isn't well and often can't pay much attention to her, admitting she kind of envies Eureka for having such a caring and involved mom. Hearing this, Eureka's mom's expression softens, and a bit of jealousy creeps in. She whispers that she really wishes a daughter like Tuko belonged to her. Eureka is completely frozen, feeling like she can't believe her own mom is saying this right in front of her. Her heart's racing, and all she wants is for this moment to just vanish. After a bit, she manages to ask Tuko why she even showed up. Her mom jumps in, saying Eureka must have left something at school, and Tuko was nice enough to bring it over. Then she scolds Eureka for being ungrateful, and tells her to at least ask her friend to sit down properly. Tuko apologizes for not returning it sooner and pulls out Eureka's pen case, placing it on the table. Eureka's eyes go wide in surprise. She can't figure out why Tuko has her pen case at all. Tuko casually mentions that since she's already here, she might as well return the pen she borrowed. Eureka just stares, totally confused, and doesn't even remember lending it to her. But before she can say anything, Tuko accidentally tips the pen case, spilling everything onto the floor. Things fly everywhere, and Eureka's heart drops when she spots something really disturbing. Her mom gasps, her face going pale as she realizes what it means. Eureka feels a rush of panic, her body going cold and sweat pouring down her forehead. Tuko quickly apologizes and starts picking everything up, saying it was her bad for knocking it over, and tries to put the stuff back in order. But the damage is done. Eureka's mom is shaking, staring at what she just saw, disbelief washing over her. Eureka snaps, desperate and confused, saying she has no clue what that is. Her mom narrows her eyes and mutters that she knew it all along. Then Tuko calmly chimes in that everyone's been worried about Eureka lately, adding that she's been secretly seeing a terrible man. Eureka completely breaks down, tears streaming down her face. She stutters that it's none of Tuko's business and pleads with her not to do this. She's feeling cornered, not getting why Tuko is pulling such a stunt. At that moment, her mom goes from shocked to furious. Disgust spreads across her face as she says she must have been way too easy on Eureka. She orders her to hand over her wallet, receipts, and everything in her bag. She demands her phone right now. Eureka's sweating like crazy, terrified of what her mom will find. Tuko has set this whole thing up with a fake story about that guy, even including a video saved on her phone. If her mom sees it, the fallout will be huge. While Eureka trembles in fear, Tuko sits there calmly, munching on her usual cream snack, eyes locked on Eureka the whole time. On the flip side, Hiroto finally made it back home. His wife greeted him warmly, but pointed out that he was running a bit late. He straight up admitted it, saying he had missed his usual train. Then he asked if Tuko was back yet. Miyako shook her head and said she wasn't home yet. Hiroto frowned, a bit worried about whether it was safe for her to be out so late. But Miyako reassured him, saying Tuko would be fine since that's just how their daughter is. Independent, strong, and reliable. Meanwhile, over at Eureka's place, things were a whole different story. Eureka was boiling with anger, but knew she had to obey her mom's orders. She kept insisting she hadn't done anything wrong, but her mom was still on her case for answers. In frustration, Eureka grabbed her handbag and started throwing everything out onto the floor, telling her mom to see for herself. She claimed there was nothing suspicious, asking if that finally satisfied her. Her mom carefully went through the mess of things on the floor. Eureka, with tears welling up, insisted again that she hadn't done anything to be ashamed of. She clenched her teeth and blamed Tuko for everything, saying it was all her fault. But her mom wasn't buying it. In a cold tone, she told Eureka to hand over her phone. Hearing that, Eureka's whole body tensed up. Her hands started shaking, and fear hit her as she whispered a shaky no. Eureka's mom glares at her, demanding to know what she just heard. Gathering her guts, Eureka repeats herself, saying no again. She pleads for her mom to trust her this time instead of believing what Tuko has said. She asks why her own mom can't take her word when she's being honest. Desperately, she begs to be believed just once in her life. In a fit of rage, her mom shouts her name and immediately slaps her hard across the face. The sound echoes in the room and Eureka is left completely shocked, her phone dropping from her shaky hand and hitting the floor with a thud. Tuko, watching quietly, notices it right away. Her mom looms over her, screaming in a terrifying voice. She tells Eureka to mind her tone and questions who she thinks she's talking to. She rants about how she's the one who feeds her, buys her clothes, and covers her school fees. Then she demands to know if Eureka's still not satisfied after all the sacrifices she's made. Her mom reminds her of all the effort she's put into raising her and accuses Eureka of being ungrateful. Tuko, looking unfazed, casually picks up her bag like nothing's happening. She heads for the door, but before she leaves, she snatches Eureka's phone. She opens Instagram and starts a live stream, capturing everything going on in the house. Suddenly, the world outside starts witnessing the horrifying scene in real time. Eureka's mom goes even harder, hitting her repeatedly until she starts kicking her violently. People tuning in are horrified, flooding the comments with reactions, realizing that it's all happening at home. Tuko, though, just keeps recording with an unsettling calm. A twisted grin appears on her face, as if she's enjoying the whole thing. Before walking out completely, she sets the phone on the table, leaving the live stream running and broadcasting every moment of the abuse. Eureka collapses to her knees, crying her heart out. Her body shakes as tears pour down her face, and she wonders how long this pain has been going on, struggling to remember when it all started. Her mom is in a rage, throwing her things around and yelling that she doesn't need any of it anymore. She wrecks everything in sight, her voice trembling as she screams that Eureka is just a burden. Words can't even begin to describe the pain Eureka feels at that moment. It's like her heart is being crushed under all of it, and despair overwhelms her completely. Meanwhile, Tuko steps outside and quickly texts her mom, saying she just finished helping a friend and is now on her way back. After getting on the train, she quietly messages her dad too, letting him know that everything's going to be alright. The scene shifts to Hiroto, who's chatting on the phone with someone. It sounds like he's working on some plans, but his schedule is still up in the air. Once he hangs up, he lets out a sigh of relief. Just as he steps out of his room, Tuko pops up with a big smile, calling out to her dad. Hiroto returns her greeting warmly. Moments later, Miyako joins them and says breakfast is ready. At the table, Hiroto thanks her and digs into the meal. As they eat, Tuko gives him a curious look and asks who he was talking to on the phone. Hiroto says it was his parents. When she hears that, she tilts her head, looking skeptical. Her reaction catches Hiroto off guard. Startled, he insists it's true, and even tells her she can check if she doesn't believe him. Tuko just laughs softly, teasing that her dad wouldn't cheat. He remembers how worried he was last night when she came home so late, but this morning she's cheerful and lively, as if nothing happened. To lighten the mood, Hiroto turns on the TV to check the weather report. Instead of the forecast, the news displays something shocking. A 40-year-old mom was caught red-handed, arrested for assault. Witnesses say she was beating her 17-year-old daughter, and it was all streamed live online. Hiroto frowns. It's not the best way to start the day. What really unsettles him is Tuko's reaction. She doesn't seem worried at all. Instead, she mutters excellent under her breath, which completely throws him off. Then, acting like nothing weird was said, Tuko casually mentions that the weather is supposed to be sunny today. Hiroto glances at the screen and sees she's right. Before he can process it, Tuko cheerfully announces she's heading to school and bolts out the door. At school, the students are buzzing with gossip. They're whispering about the news, all talking about Eureka. Everyone thinks she won't show up today. When Tuko walks into the classroom, she greets everyone like it's just another normal day. Honda rushes over to ask if she saw the news too, even showing Tuko the recording of Eureka's live stream. The beating was so bad that her mom got arrested. Tuko listens quietly while some kids make jokes about it, laughing at Eureka's downfall. Honda frowns, feeling like it's all kinda cruel instead of funny. Tuko just says she hopes Mama comes home soon. The way she says it makes Honda pause, unsure if she heard that right. But when she asks, Tuko brushes it off, claiming she's just putting her bag away. As she walks to her seat, Tuko nudges Yoshida lightly. That small gesture sends a chill down Yoshida's spine, freezing her in place. Meanwhile, Eureka's old friends are trying to reach out, checking in on her after everything that happened. They send messages, pretending to be worried, but really, they're just interested in the gossip. On the other side, Eureka's at home, standing in the shower. Her body is covered in bruises and marks from her mom's violence. Water stings against her injuries. Outside, someone mutters about how they have a job and a family to take care of, wondering when her mom will finally come back. Eureka is outside in the chilly air, and someone tells her she should head home. A woman warns her to get inside before she catches a cold, reminding her that she's already dealing with her own kids and doesn't want to take on someone else's problems. Eureka stands there, lost in her thoughts, remembering when her mom first brought her to Tokyo. Back then, she thought if she just hung in there a little longer, her mom would finally listen to her. She believed that things would get better eventually. Suddenly, the door flies open, and the police rush in. Her mom goes still, terrified, the moment she sees them. Eureka is stunned as they move inside, and that's when her mom realizes the truth. Everything she did, all the violence, was streaming live from Eureka's phone. In the chaos, the officers restrain her mom and take her away. Eureka screams for her, calling her name over and over. The cops tell her it's all right, that she's safe now, but their words don't comfort her at all. As they drag her mom out, she spits out cruel words, saying she should never have given birth to Eureka. That rips Eureka's heart apart. She screams wildly, unable to control herself, her voice echoing off the walls. From that night on, her mom never came back. Eureka's phone won't stop buzzing since she got it back. Notifications keep pouring in. People online, even on Instagram, are pretending to care. They leave messages saying they're sorry for her, hoping she's okay. But Eureka just smashes her mirror, yelling that none of them knows anything. She doesn't want their pity. She wonders why she has to go through all this. In her mind, neither she nor her mom did anything wrong. She convinces herself it's all Tuco's fault. Tuco messed everything up, stole everything from her. Eureka was just trying to hold on to what was hers. She recalls the school play when she pushed the girl who had the lead role so she could shine instead. Her mom even praised her for it afterward. That memory sticks in her mind, and she clenches her fists. She believes no one has the right to stand in her way. If her mom thinks she shouldn't have been born, it's only because that sneaky Tuco filled her head with lies. Eureka's anger runs deeper. She starts to think that if Tuco just disappeared, everything would go back to normal. Her breathing gets heavier. She tells herself it was just a misunderstanding, that Tuco tricked her mom. Her eyes catch a lock of hair falling across her face, and she brushes it aside. Putting on her clothes, she mutters that this won't be enough. Gripping a knife tightly, she leaves the house with heavy steps, repeating to herself that it'll all be over soon. As she walks through the streets, she imagines facing off with Tuco. What kind of look will she have? What fear will show on her face? Eureka vows she'll never forgive her. Not even if she bleeds, it won't be enough. She thinks maybe she should visit her dad first before dealing with Tuco. But before she can think further, she suddenly bumps into someone and falls to the ground. Looking up, her eyes widen. The guy in front of her calls her name, sounding relieved, saying he's been searching for her for ages. It's him, the same creepy guy from before. Eureka's stomach drops. She can't figure out why he's here. He explains he saw her live stream and realized it must have been her mom keeping them apart. He insists he's here to help her. Eureka is shaking, her mind racing. She knows this guy is wrong, and she has to get away. Her hand slips to the knife hidden at her side, but suddenly he grabs her wrist tightly, stopping her. He spots the blade and questions why she's carrying something like that, asking if she wants to hurt herself. Eureka tries to say something, but fear has stolen her voice. She can only hope in silence that someone will come to help her. But the creep leans in, grinning, and tells her not to be scared, saying he'll protect her. Tears stream down her face, and she can't hold them back, even if no sound comes out. The only word that comes from her trembling lips is Mom. Meanwhile, at Hiroto's house, Tuco is cozying up with her dad. She's sharing a story from a picture book about a beautiful princess with a super strict mom who wouldn't let anyone close. One day, the princess accidentally bumps into a prince and ends up falling for him. Once she wraps up the story, she closes the book with a soft sigh and asks her dad if she did a good job. Hiroto smiles and tells her she did great, wondering if she's getting ready for something special. Tuco nods and shares that she's planning to volunteer for a reading aloud event soon. Just then, Miyako walks in saying dinner's ready. They all head to the table together, the cozy vibe of home standing in stark contrast to the darkness happening somewhere else. At school, the students are buzzing about their summer plans. Some are excitedly chatting about trips with their families, while others are bragging about going away with friends. A girl even mentioned she's planning to go on vacation with her boyfriend, which gets everyone laughing and teasing her. In the middle of all the chatter, someone asks Tuco what she's planning to do over the summer. But before she can answer, Honda notices something odd. She remembers that every year during the summer picnic, Tuco always seems to vanish. The others are surprised to realize it's true, but no one can figure out why. When they press her for details about what she does every summer, Tuco just smiles a little and says it's a secret, which only makes everyone more curious. In the next scene, a car pulls up to a quiet street just as Hiroto, Miyako, and Tuco get there for a family visit. Miyako looks really cheerful and says she's excited about the trip. Hiroto jumps right in, directing everyone as he helps with their bags. He notices Miyako adjusting her scarf and asks if she's caught a cold, but she reassures him she's fine. She admits she's been looking forward to this trip for a while, and Hiroto silently hopes everything goes smoothly, wishing she won't feel uncomfortable. When they step inside, Hiroto is greeted by his mom, who jokingly says it took him long enough to finally come by. Miyako is polite as she greets her, and his mom smiles warmly, inviting them in and telling them to get comfortable, insisting they must be tired after their journey. Tuco glances around, a bit unsure if she should greet everyone, and asks about her grandmother. Hiroto's mom explains that she's at the grocery store but will be back soon, and Hiroto urges her to hurry. Soon enough, the whole family gathers in front of Hiroto's parents. He mentions that Tuco hasn't really met them before. Tuco steps forward with her usual polite energy and greets them, and sitting nearby is Chika, Hiroto's sister, who is surprised at how cute and well-behaved Tuko seems. She greets her back with a smile, and Miyako also joins in. Hiroto's mom says she'll whip up dinner for everyone. Later, while they're enjoying their meal, Hiroto's mom says she expects them to stick around for the whole week. Chika laughs, pointing out that this is what happens when he barely visits. Of course, their mom will start nagging. She even pours Miyako a glass of beer, but Miyako politely declines, saying she can't drink. This raises an eyebrow from Hiroto's mom, who starts speculating aloud, making both Hiroto and Chika tense up. Hiroto quickly jumps in, explaining that Miyako was avoiding alcohol for health reasons, and to keep things smooth, he pours her some tea instead. Chika tries to lighten the mood by offering Tuko some juice and asks for her name. Tuko politely introduces herself and gratefully accepts the juice. Chika smiles, though she feels a bit awkward about the whole situation. Chika can't help but think it's a bit strange, Hiroto marrying a single mom and now having her daughter at the table as part of the family. Still, their mom seems perfectly fine with it. Chika never thought her brother would go this route in life, but here they are. Later on, everyone is relaxing in the living room. Tuko sits beside Chika's little son, and Chika apologizes if he's bothering her. But Tuko smiles sweetly and says she doesn't mind at all. She asks if she can hold him, and Chika says okay. Tuko gently picks up the baby and starts playing with him softly. Hiroto watches, feeling proud and warmed by how gentle she is. Tuko comments that the baby is soft and cute, smiling at Chika, who smiles back, touched by how naturally Tuko interacts with him. Chika wonders if Tuko feels weird being at her stepdad's family home, knowing teens can be sensitive at that age. But surprisingly, Tuko fits in well and gets along with everyone easily. Then, out of the blue, Tuko turns to Hiroto and blurts out something shocking. She asks if he wants to make a baby. The words hang in the air, freezing both Hiroto and Chika in place. Hiroto freezes, unsure how to react, while Chika stares in disbelief, thinking did she really just say that? Trying to stay calm, Hiroto brushes it off and says lightly that he's fine as he is. Chika, feeling flustered, scoots her baby back into her arms, saying it's time to check his diaper before quickly excusing herself. Right after that, Hiroto's mom comes in, asking if Tuko wants to take a bath. She even jots down a reminder for her to bring a change of clothes. Meanwhile, Chika steps aside, still shook. She can't help but wonder if Tuko is always like this. That weird comment keeps popping into her mind, leaving her unsettled. She wonders if Tuko is trying to bait Hiroto into something inappropriate just to trap him later and blackmail him for money. Later that night, Chika is lying in bed, staring at her phone as she scrolls through endless websites about issues with stepchildren, checking out posts and advice columns. She looks really restless, almost obsessed, like she's trying to confirm her unsettling feelings. Her mom pops in, peeking into the room, and asks if she's still up. Chika quickly hides her phone and says she was just about to sleep. Her mom offers her some tea and mentions how it's been a while since the house felt this crowded. She wonders if Kosuke will be around tomorrow, but Chika says he's busy. Still, her mom seems pretty cheerful, saying that Minato already brings her so much joy. Then, chuckling a little, she admits she never thought she'd become a grandmother to a high school girl just like that. She says she can't wait to see Hiroto get married, hinting that everything feels so sudden. Chika takes the chance to ask what her mom really thinks about her brother's marriage. Her mom hesitates, almost dodging the question, and turns it around, asking Chika what she thinks. Chika is honest, mentioning how she warned him about kids and responsibilities before the wedding. She told him if there were any issues, he could always back out before it was too late. Her mom sighs lightly, but Chika keeps going. She shares that she feels something's off, not with Miyako, but with her daughter Tuko. She brings up that shocking question Tuko posed to Hiroto earlier, directly asking if her mom caught that too. Her mom frowns, trying to remember. You mean when Tuko asked if Hiroto wanted to have a baby? Chika nods firmly, insisting she can't picture that as normal. She wonders if Tuko is being pushed into making strange choices to earn money or worse, if she's manipulating Hiroto. But her mom brushes it off, saying Chika is overthinking it. Kids these days can be odd, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. She tells Chika to calm down and get some sleep. Taking a deep breath, Chika tells herself maybe she really is overthinking it. She goes to bed beside her child, though that unease still lingers in her mind. The next morning, as the sun rises, Chika waves while holding Minato. Hiroto notices her tired eyes and asks if she didn't sleep well. Chika replies that she woke up early because Minato was fussy. Checking her supplies, she realizes they're almost out of diapers and decides she needs to go shopping. Half joking, she says she's so sleepy she might bump into something if she drives alone. She asks Hiroto for a ride. Without hesitation, Hiroto agrees. Miyako, standing nearby, decides to stay back to help with chores and tells him to go ahead. Hiroto then asks Tuko if she wants to come too. Chika is caught off guard, unsure if that's a good idea, but Tuko eagerly says yes, excited to join. Chika doesn't like that idea but doesn't speak up. The three head out. At the store, Chika finds the diapers she usually buys. Hiroto realizes he has no cash and asks if he can use the ATM at the convenience store next door. He heads out saying he'll be back in a minute. Now it's just Chika and Tuko, and Chika tries to break the silence by asking if Tuko wants anything, but she just shakes her head. Chika sighs and tells her to let her know if she changes her mind. While they wait, Tuko suddenly asks a weird question. How does it feel to be a mom? That throws Chika off completely. After a moment, she says she was happy when Minato was born, even though the whole process was pretty painful and exhausting. Tuko leans in closer, asking if she was happy during her pregnancy. Chika feels a bit unsettled but tries to keep it cool, saying morning sickness was tough but overall, yes, she was happy. Out of nowhere, Tuko gently puts her hand on Chika's stomach and softly asks, "What about now? Are you happy now?" That creepy question makes Chika break out in a sweat. Just then, Hiroto comes back, apologizing for taking so long. Tuko greets him with a bright smile, while Chika quickly hides her discomfort. Hiroto hands the shopping bag to Tuko, looking at them curiously as he senses some weird tension, but neither of them says anything. As they head back to the car, Hiroto comments on how hot it is outside. Behind him, Tuko quietly smiles and tells Chika, "You're really lucky." Those words echo in Chika's mind. Back at the house, Miyako is hanging out alone with Hiroto's mom. The others, Hiroto, Chika, and Tuko, still haven't made it back yet. The living room is pretty quiet, except for Minato's soft babbling. Miyako can't help but smile a little, feeling grateful to have a little hero in her life now. Hiroto's mom looks content too, saying how nice it is to have so many people around again, people she can actually count on. She's gently bouncing Minato on her lap while Miyako watches. After a moment, Miyako asks about Minato's dad, curious about what kind of guy Chika's husband is. Hiroto's mom thinks for a second and says he's a man of action, always on the go. She's not sure how he was in school, but she describes him as a solid guy. Miyako is clearly interested as Hiroto's mom continues, mentioning that he's really busy with work, maybe too busy, which sometimes makes him a bit absent as a dad. Miyako nods, saying she gets it. Just as she's about to say more, Minato starts squirming and fussing. Hiroto's mom laughs and offers for Miyako to hold him. Miyako hesitates, worried he'll cry, but Hiroto's mom insists it's fine, so Miyako gently lifts Minato and holds him close. The little guy seems a bit confused at first, blinking up at her. Hiroto's mom smiles at the scene and starts reminiscing. She mentions that when Hiroto was a baby, he was super shy and hard to pass around to family. Then she asks if Miyako remembers what Tuko was like when she was little. Miyako nods, saying she holds those memories dear. She wishes Tuko would grow up faster, but also treasures her being small. Hiroto's mom then shares that she had a baby at 20. She asks if it was tough for Miyako too, being so young when Tuko was born. Miyako admits it was really hard, saying she was clueless back then and too young to know what she was doing, but still, she was over the moon about it. That answer makes Hiroto's mom pause for a moment, her eyes widening a bit. "So young?" she murmurs, processing Miyako's words. Then, almost hesitantly, she asks if Miyako's ever thought about having another kid. She comments how plenty of people wait until their 30s to have kids, and adds that it would be nice to have a boy for a complete set. Miyako immediately shakes her head, firmly saying she pass on that. She points out that she already has Hiroto and Tuko, and that's more than enough for her. The way she says it makes Hiroto's mom a little uneasy. Her expression tightens as Miyako suddenly adds, with an odd smile, "I'm glad Tuko was born a girl." That comment really unsettles Hiroto's mom. Nothing seems off about what Miyako is saying, but the tone just feels weird. She can't shake the nagging feeling that something's wrong. Her mind tries to recall Chika's earlier worries. Could Chika have been onto something? Maybe she wasn't just imagining things. Then she quickly scolds herself for overthinking it. She forces a calm smile and keeps quiet, even though her unease lingers. Meanwhile, Hiroto is driving back with Chika and Tuko in the car. The ride is calm, but Chika is sitting there, lost in thought. Hiroto casually suggests going out for lunch when they get home, and Tuko happily agrees. Shika, though, is distracted when her phone buzzes with a new message. She glances down and sees it's from her mom, asking if she's coming back soon and vaguely mentioning that something feels strange at the house. That gives Chika a chill. She frowns, wondering what her mom means by that. Hiroto catches her expression and asks if something's up. Chika quickly shakes her head, forcing a smile, and says it's nothing. She slips her phone back into her pocket, but her heart feels uneasy.